Hello and welcome into this week's Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On today's Cup Rewind, we're looking back at Sunday's 19th Annual Camping World 400, 267 laps, 400.5 miles, around the mile-and-a-half Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. This was an interesting race. Got delayed at one point by some very severe weather. Had some interesting accidents in this race, and just as we did last year, we had a fairly exciting finish to this race. Not quite to the same extent as what we had last year between Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson, but we had a pretty good finish to this race. So let's go ahead and get into it. 5 caution flags for a total of 25 laps. Didn't get very far before the rain showed up. Got to about lap 10 when we went to caution for lightning and subsequently straight into red flag for some very severe thunderstorms that rolled through. Lots of high wind, lots of rain. An over 3-hour red flag before we finally got the track dry and back to racing. First caution for an incident came at lap 80 as Clint Boyer spun off turn 3. That was also your stage 1 break as we were basically a lap from the green and white checkered. Denny Hamlin took the stage 1 victory. Stage 2, we had one caution, wasn't really for an incident though, lap 104 for fluid in turn 4. Stage 2 concluded lap 162 with Kevin Harvick taking the Stage 2 victory, but shortly thereafter into Stage 3 at lap 173, Harvick would have his own incident in turn 2, and that would mess up his day from there. Had a very fast car, but unfortunately not able to take it all the way to the end and get what could have been his first win of 2019. 23 lead changes among 13 drivers in this race. Lots of drivers taking time up front in this race. Kevin Harvick did lead the most laps with 132 of the 267 laps spent out front for the 4 car. 88 laps, though, were led by the 88 car of Alex Bowman. 10 laps went to Jimmy Johnson. 9 laps apiece went to William Byron and Austin Dillon. 7 laps were led by Kyle Larson. 5 laps went to Denny Hamlin. 2 laps went to Ricky Stenhouse, and 1 lap apiece went to Ryan Blaney, Eric Jones, Ryan Newman, Michael McDowell, and Daniel Suarez. Alright, so let's get into your results. Denny Hamlin won the first stage, but only led 5 laps in this race. Kevin Harvick led the most laps and won the second stage, but as we already talked about, he had that incident in Stage 3, so didn't really get to finish off what should have been a really good run for him. Alex Bowman led a decent number of laps in this race, 88 laps matching his car number. Did Alex Bowman pick up his first career Cup Series victory and break the string of however many second place finishes it's been at this point before his first win? Yes, he did. Alex Bowman takes home his first career Cup Series victory in very exciting fashion, holding off a very strong Kyle Larson at the end of this race. Kyle Larson has to settle for second 2 years in a row in this race. Thought he had it there with about 5 laps to go. He actually did get around Bowman after Bowman had been held up for a long time trying to get around Daniel Hemrick. Larson was able to get by Bowman, but Bowman stayed right there on Larson's bumper, and finally, after a couple laps, was able to get back by the 42 and pull away for his first career Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series victory. He did it in exciting fashion, and now everybody can stop asking him when he's going to win his first race. And he's one of these guys, I think, that now that he's won his first race, I don't think the second victory will take him near as long. This is a guy that has a lot of talent. Now that Chevy's back, now that Hendrick is back, I think Bowman is finally going to be able to showcase his talent and show that he does deserve a top ride like that 88 car. Joey Logano came home in the 3rd position. Jimmy Johnson capped off a very strong run, led some laps early on, led 10 laps total. finished 4th in the first stage and 5th in the second stage, and he did come home 4th in this race. Maybe we've seen the 48 car turn a corner. It was a very strong run all around from the Chevy camp as a whole in this race. So maybe now that Chevy as a whole seems to be back and Hendrick Motorsports seems to be back, maybe we can finally see Jimmie Johnson back up front and don't have to worry about him making the playoffs now. We will see. I know that would make all the Jimmie Johnson fans out there very happy. Brad Keselowski rounded out the top 5. The rest of your top 10, Ryan Blaney, Eric Jones, William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., and Austin Dillon. 11th through 20th, Chase Elliott had a really good run going in this race. Finished 2nd in the second stage. Had a very fast car, but ends up just outside the top 10 in 11th in this one. Kurt Busch came home in 13th. Had a pretty strong top 10 capable car as well, running in the top 10 most of the race, but had to settle for 13th. Kevin Harvick, after his incident late, came home in the 14th position. 21st through 30th, Kyle Busch 1 lap down in the 22nd position. Not a good run out of that 18 car this week, but I mean, as strong of a season as he has had so far, he's clearly in the playoffs, so you can afford a few mulligans. I'm sure at this point they're just kind of working on things, trying to make sure they are good in the playoffs. I've heard a lot of drivers talk about how Chicago can help you a lot for Homestead because you're running around the high side so much at Chicago, so it may be that that 18 team was just trying some stuff out for Homestead and it just didn't really work out. So better to get it out of the way here and have it not work than get to Homestead and realize that it doesn't work when you get there. Daniel Suarez, a fairly disappointing run back here in the 24th position. Bubba Wallace, 25th. Final page, 31st through 38th. Ty Dillon back here came home in the 35th position after some issues throughout the day. And 37th was Clint Boyer after his accident there at the end of stage 1. But that is your results from the Camping World 400. So let's head over to the Media Center. We will see what, for the first time, Alex Bowman has to say as a winner from the Media Center.
Yeah, I mean, I think you chase everyone that you compete and participate in, no matter if it was a pit bike race like I did yesterday, or if it's a Cup Series or just a foot race. So, finishing second there, I think has been valuable for us to learn and grow as a team. Just kind of like what happened, almost mimicked what happened in Kansas, but I think Alex had some experience behind him and allowed him to understand that Kyle's car was going to adjust and change a little bit when he got out front, and he just had to stay after it and attack. And sometimes if you feel beat, you're going to get beat, and I felt like he had that experience, so no, he still had an opportunity, and he took advantage of it.
Woo! Yeah, what he said. I don't know. I'm pretty speechless. I feel like I kind of just want to get home and enjoy it with my friends. It's something that it's all I've wanted my whole life, and now that we went and won a race, I don't really know what to do with myself a little bit, but just very thankful for Hendrick Motorsports, Exalta, Nationwide, Lumar, Valvoline, everybody that stuck behind somebody with, I don't come from a racing family. I don't have a big resume. I kind of went from running in the back every week to doing this, and still not really quite sure how that all happened, but it's been a heck of a ride, and just very thankful for the opportunity, and thankful for getting to work with people like Greg Ives and this 88 team.
All right, so let's take a look at your playoff grid before wrapping up here tonight, and we have a lot of movement on this playoff grid. Obviously, the most notable one, Alex Bowman, now on the winner's side of the graphic, and he has now locked his place into the 2019 playoffs. I think it was pretty safe to say he was probably going to get in on points either way, but now he's locked in, doesn't have to worry about that. But a lot of these guys down here that are worrying have moved around a lot this week. The right side of this page has changed a lot. William Byron up 2 spots this week to the 12th position. Kyle Larson also jumps 2 spots to 13th. Jimmie Johnson, your biggest mover upwards this week, he's up 3 spots to 14th. Daniel Suarez, though, has dropped 2 spots. He's down to 15th. Your biggest mover in the wrong direction is Clint Bowyer. He dropped 4 spots this week, down to the 16th position. By this point last season, Clint Bowyer had 2 wins and was safely in the playoffs. Right now, that is not the case. He's only got a 15-point margin holding him in the playoffs right now over a fast-charging Eric Jones, who has moved up 1 spot this week as well to the 17th position. Ryan Newman's dropped a couple this week out of a playoff position. He's now down to 18th. And then down here, 19th and 20th, Ricky Stenhouse and Paul Menard have swapped spots this week as well. So a lot of moving down here around the cut line, and it is shaping up to be a very good battle around this cut line as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. We're down to that final stretch here. I mean, we're on the NBC side of the TV broadcast schedule, so that means we are getting very close now to the playoffs, and it's shaping up to be a really good battle here to see who actually gets into the playoffs and who's left out, because this whole group down here, basically from about 12th to 18th, is very tight. There's not a lot of wiggle room here. One bad race, as Clint Bowyer shows, can cost you a lot. Clint Bowyer had 1 bad race today. 1 bad race. And he dropped 4 spots and is now 15 points from not even being in a playoff position. So that's how quickly things can change when you don't have a win and when you've had just kind of a mediocre season. It's not been a great season for Bowyer. It's not been a bad season. But it's been a winless season, and that's the biggest problem right now for him, is he doesn't have a win holding him into the playoffs, and we might not see that 14 car in the playoffs this year. I know last week we were talking about Jimmy Johnson not being in the playoffs. Now we've kind of shifted to, is Clint Bowyer going to make the playoffs? At the moment, he seems like the biggest name in jeopardy of not making the playoffs right now. So we'll see how this goes here in these final races leading up to the playoffs. It should be exciting to see as we make our way toward the regular season finale at Indianapolis. But that is your playoff grid following the Camping World 400 from Chicago, and I believe that'll do it for us on this Cup Series Rewind. K&N West Rewind went up just a little bit ago, a lot later than I meant for it to, but with a power outage earlier today due to some severe thunderstorms rolling through here, not much we could do to get that done and out for you. So that also delayed our winter interview with Derek Kraus for that, which instead of being this afternoon like it was supposed to be, will now be tomorrow on Monday. So keep an eye out for that. A winter interview with Derek Kraus for the K&N West race should be going up sometime on Monday. Always fun to chat with him. He's a great one to talk to. So that'll be a good one to look out for on Monday. And then, of course, Diecast Review coming up on Wednesday. Chase Elliott's Dover win this week. And then we actually have an off week from the track next weekend because ARCA is off this week. But we will have coverage for you from the Daytona races. So don't fret. We will have some videos for you coming up next weekend for Xfinity and Cup from Daytona. So if you haven't done it already, you need to go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. While you're down there, why don't you hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video. It is much appreciated when you do. But at that, this has been the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.